Probably.
You lived in 3 pubs growing up. Was that quite hard, or did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the first one the most. When we lived in, I was maybe 6 or 7, so 1996, 1997, we lived in that pub, like tiny little village outside my hometown, which is Hartlepool, near Middlesbrough, in North East. And it was right on the village green as well. And like my mum's husband at the time had just retired and got the pub out of it, like just as like a retirement thing. We had it for just over a year, and then I think I was 11, 12 when we moved into the second one. I was quite fun because I had an indoor kids play area. So when it closed at 8 o'clock, it's like sometimes my mum would lock me and my brother in there with a few friends and just let us run riot.
Get it to
For
yourself.
a few hours, yeah. That one was that was a big pub, that, and it was right over the road from the hospital on the main road as well, so it was, as far as I remember, Sundays would be absolutely rammed, packed full of people. We always used to go to my dad's for the weekend though, so I never really saw the busy parts of the pub. I always saw it just during the week, which is quite easier.
Was there live music in any of the pubs, and if so, did that influence your choice of career?
I remember in the first pub, we had a few live bands, but I think my mum and her husband at the time had planned it to make sure me and my brother were at our dad's that night, because it'd be midweek, and then our bedroom was right above the bar, so instead of trying to like keeping us awake all night when you got to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning to go to school, it was on a night when we were at our dad's during the week, so we wouldn't be woken up. Second pub, can't remember because it was concrete floor, couldn't hear the pub at all. And the last pub we lived in, definitely not.
No?
Nah, karaoke on a Friday, that was it, it was terrible. When I worked at Gilly Do, that had a lot of live music, but again, didn't really influence my choice because I was already studying music at the time anyway. It was just something that went on in the background while I was working, and I always tried to avoid it.
So you don't know what influenced you?
No, I think it was just, I remember turning around one day and saying to my mum I wanted to play flute, and she was just like, do you not want to play clarinet instead, because I can teach it, because I play clarinet, and I got one. I was like, no, flute. And when I turned 14 I was like, I want to play guitar. And then when I turned 18 I was like, I want to play clarinet.
Well, at least you got there in the end with the
Yeah.
clarinet.
It was like 10 years of my mum trying to force it down me.
You recently put on your own night at Bannerman's, which was a huge success. Is this something you plan to do on a regular basis?
I've not decided about a regular basis, I've been asked that a few times. That was a really good night, and yeah, it was extremely successful, and I was quite surprised by the end of the night how good it actually went and how well it went. I've got another 2 planned, one in July and one in August, which I'm still trying to work out details for. But I've got most of the acts signed up and they're all on board for them. I just need to get the things sorted out. I have been asked to put on one once a month, but I'm not too sure I want to yet.
What's the most challenging thing about it?
Making sure the acts are doing things to help promote it as well. Unknown acts are really good for not promoting themselves. And not inviting their friends and then blaming it on promoters when no one knows who they are. Like, it's hard enough for a promoter's job anyway, without bands, like especially startup bands, like not trying to help promote themselves on top of that, because you can look across their like all their social media pages and they're posting nothing about most of their gigs, and then they complain that it was quiet. It's like,
you didn't promote yourself.
yeah, you didn't help promote it. Like, we put stuff out there, you need to then repost that or share it with people as well, so people know what's going on. That's quite hard when they do that.
What other aspects of the music industry are you interested in getting involved in?
Probably none. Most of it is whitewash and there's no making any money in it at all for a living. you're just gonna spend money and make nothing back. Especially, I quite like to have a record company, but the state of the industry right now, I wouldn't even go anywhere near that bad. No chance.
No?
Nah. You're just wasting money that you can spend on buying a house.
Is that the plan, buy a house?
Yeah. Actually, maybe having a recording studio would be pretty cool, but it's
Would that
finding
make, that
somewhere.
would make money, surely?
Depends, because you'd be aiming quite a lot at start bands, so you have to make sure the place that you find, the initial cost is going to be quite a lot to soundproof the place and buy all your equipment. But then you've got to try and do deals to get people in, and what you're aiming at mostly is start-up bands looking for somewhere cheap. So in the long run, or in the short run of starting up, you're looking at spending a lot of money and making very little back. So from a business side, getting a loan from a bank, they're just going to hand it back to you and laugh at you. It's quite difficult, especially with finding somewhere in Edinburgh that if you're going to have a studio, it needs to be quite central so you open up your options more. But you look around the city centre of Edinburgh and I can probably name 5 studios within reach of the bridges.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, and most of them, every time you can look at different units too close to one, and you can just be like, you can't find anywhere. Especially if you go down into the residential side of things where there is spaces, you're just going to get rejected your lease because people are going to turn around and just say, oh, recording studio, it's going to be too noisy for the tenants living around, even though if you are going to soundproof the place, they're just going to make no.
So who does make money out of this industry?
Promoters, definitely. Bars make the money, obviously. Engineers, sound engineers, live sound engineers, they make money out of it. Bands and solo artists, they can make money out of the industry if they've got help as well. If they've got a manager that knows what they're doing, they can definitely make a good living, or they can make an average wage and still have some sort of success, but have your average normal wage, what you would get in any other job, but at the same time it's a fun job and you get to do what you love doing.
Would you not like to open a music venue, like a bar?
No.
No?
No, definitely not. I've been there, done that with family
well,
stuff.
see, you know all about it.
Wouldn't want to do it.
That might be a good thing.
Too much of a risk. Especially with the state that Edinburgh is in right now with live music venues. The council just don't seem to want to help live music venues prosper and grow, and they don't seem to understand that it's actually killing the city and it's killing the live music scene in the city. And we've had the Picture House closed down last year, which was a big mistake. I can understand the company going bust, but selling it to Witherspoons was a bad idea. They should have found a company that was willing to keep it open as a live music venue, because now the big bands that would normally come here or pass through here occasionally are not going to come anywhere near the city to play. They're going to go to Glasgow. And it's already bad enough that most of the bands go to Glasgow anyway. But there's nothing we can do unless investors come around.
Oh, we need to invest in somewhere. What one song could you listen to constantly and never get tired of?
Just check my phone.
Just going to pick one off your phone.
I've been listening to a lot of Mark Tremonti's solo stuff and a lot of Blackstone Cherry, and occasionally I'll go through what's the right here? I go through stages. I go through definitely Mark Tremonti and Blackstone Cherry are always in my playlist.
So either one of them.
Yeah.
Any particular song?
If I was going to pick Blackstone Cherry, for one of their tracks, I'm really enjoying the song off their newest album, Peace Pipe. It's quite a cool song. And off Mark Tremonti's album, his first solo one, Brains, was a really good one for guitar riffage I like listening to.
Okay. Describe yourself in 5 words.
I can't.
Not even one. You can.
Easygoing. Very easy to talk to.
Okay.
Very easy to approach. Most people will tend to try and avoid me when I'm at work because they'll say I look too stressed, but I'm actually not. It's just I'm living inside my head at that point and I'm too much concentrating. And people think I'm in a mood, especially if I just say yes or no to them at the side. And they're just like, oh, he's being really moody. I'm not. I'm working. I've got a job to do. My head's processing what I'm listening to coming from the PA and the stage. People don't seem to understand that. They just kind of stand there in the mood because they think I'm being moody. I'm quite easy to approach.
You're ambitious.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything else? No. Put you on the spot there. Okay, we'll move on. You're originally from Hartlepool. What age were you when you came to live in Scotland?
I was 14 going on 15.
Did you find it difficult moving country?
Not really, it's not that far away to get home. I think it was a shock originally when I found out, especially we were told, me and my little brother were told 3 months before we moved, so we weren't really given that much time. It's not like something where you move in, like say from Hartlepool to Newcastle wouldn't have been that bad at all. It's just get a train in half an hour back down to Hartlepool. It's like 3.5 hours if you drive in from Edinburgh to Hartlepool. And the initial shock at that age, it's like, oh. And most people when they plan a big move like that, they know a year or so in advance so you can prepare yourself.
Yeah.
But with my mum's job, it was just sort of like, right, there you got your own unit, go, on you go. So me and my brother, we stayed in Hartlepool a bit longer than our mum did, so we could finish school. Because I had exams for year 9 at that point, so I had to stay. So we came up for our summer holiday, like the start of our summer holidays, and then 4 weeks later I started school up here and I went into third year. But I had to drop a year because of the the difference in the education system is quite strange. In Scotland you start school a year younger than you do in England. So I was a year older than everybody in my year group. So when I was starting my exams, when I was meant to be doing GCSEs, we were all going into the first of the 2 years of that. So I had to drop in for the standard grades and drop down a year in age to get into the standard grades and do that for the third and fourth year.
It must have been quite hard going to school.
Didn't know anyone.
Up here,
yeah. It was quite strange.
Different accent.
Oh, no one understood a single word I said for ages. I didn't, likewise, didn't have a clue what the teachers were saying. Blank look on my face.
That would have been quite hard. Do you think you'd like to move back south one day?
No, hell no.
No?
I would not go back to that town at all. That town, for the industry I'm in and what I do, there's nothing that town could offer me at all. I need to be in the city, and I'm more of a city boy now.
Yeah.
I'm not a town guy anymore.
Right, favourite band?
Black Stone Cherry.
Food?
Pot noodles, got a big thing for them.
Really?
Or macaroni and cheese.
That's a bit better.
Or burgers.
Holiday destination?
What, where I like going? I've never been anywhere twice. We always go somewhere else.
What's a favourite place that you have been?
Germany, in the Rhine Valley. Really nice.
Favourite person in the world?
We'll come back to that one.
Favourite possession?
Possession? I had something in mind there, but I forgot what it was. Come back to me on that one, because I don't remember what it is.
Okay, we're back to person in the world now.
Damn it! I actually, for the person, I said my grandma, she's very, very supportive of what I do. Initially when I went into this, she was quite worried that I was going to spend a long time trying to find work.
Yeah.
And wouldn't find work, and it's so far worked out the best for me. But that could change. You never know. This industry is the way things change all the time, and people who were there one day with a lot of work and making names for themselves suddenly drop off the map for next year. She's quite worried about that, or that happening, where I have to go back to doing bar work or something. I'm just grabbing what I'm doing right now and loving it while it's here.
Good. My favourite possession.
Right.
Maybe a guitar?
No, actually, I came across, I went to Carlisle when I was 17 to go and see my Auntie Jean, and she was on the way to pick us up from the train station, and I spotted a record store down the road. So I had to walk down to it. Went in and were looking through all the old vinyls, and I found an original Led Zeppelin 4 pressing from the when they come out in 1966, I think, or 67. But it was from that year. It was the original print, and it was only like £5, and I was like, oh, I'll get that. And I was doing a bit of research, and some of these original pressing records from Led Zeppelin, which are really, really rare, they go for a couple of grand, and I found it for £5 in a shop in Carlisle.
Wow.
So that's sitting at home on the shelf in the sunlight, probably where you shouldn't keep a record.
Yes, probably. It'll just be warped.
I check my records every now and again, make sure they're not warping or damaged. It seems to be alright, and it still plays quite well.
Keep that one safe. Should you be playing it?
Probably not. I've got I can't remember which Rolling Stone single it was that this came out on, but the vinyl for the single is in the shape of the famous tongue from Rolling Stones.
Really?
That's at home somewhere. It's missing its original cover and casing. I've just got the vinyl in like a little plastic wallet, which I found in the loft in the last pub we were in. It was just sitting in a box, and I was like, that's mine. It was owned by whoever was in the pub before us. It was one of the previous tenants in
Just
there.
left it.
Yeah, just left it in the box with a bunch of other stuff, and I was like, never mind.
Okay. And finally, by this time next year, what would you like to have achieved?
Or I'd like to finish most of the projects I'm working on, and hopefully go out on tour with the band, doing either sound or playing in the band on tour. One of those two.
Sounds
or
good.
Both.
Yeah, or both.
Or both
Go for
at the
both.
same time,
Yeah.
running back and forth from the stage to the desk.
I don't think that would work, so. Well, thank you very much, James.
No problem.